Hey guys, welcome. I am Tamiya Robles, a credit repair specialist, credit repair expert. I am the host of Coast to Coast Credit podcast. Welcome. So, if you've been following me, you know that this podcast is basically anything and everything pertaining to credit, whether it's personal credit or business credit, whether it's directly or indirectly. I'm going to talk about credit. Now, my main thing is for you guys to fix your credit and scoot on over to the business side. And I strongly encourage that. And you guys know why I encourage that. But I'm not going to go into that right now. If you want to know, just check out my other podcasts and my other videos. But for now, I decided to do this episode because I am trying to encourage everybody to get their credit fixed so they can get on the business side. But the thing is, some of you guys don't have a business, right? So it's like, hey, well, how can I get business credit if I don't have a business? So we're going to talk more and more about obtaining business credit and starting a business and what businesses you may want to consider, so on and so forth, as we move forward. But I will always say, first and first, mostly, if you don't hear anything, I have to say, listen to this. You have to fix your personal credit first. If you're looking for funding, a good amount of funding for your business, then you need to fix your personal credit. But we need to get you going. Now, for those that doubt themselves, I did a podcast on that recently. I'm going to continue to focus on you guys because I know there's a lot of people out there. Some of them are my clients. Some of them are people that reach out to me on social media just to chit chat and talk and pick my brain, that you want to start a business, but you don't have, maybe you doubt yourself, you don't have enough self-esteem as far as you're concerned, you just don't think you have the time, but you're working a job that is stressing you out. Even, I mean, it's just so much going on, but these may just be signs that you need to be an entrepreneur, that you need to start the process of leaving your job, right, and becoming an entrepreneur. Now, some people, mind you, they do both. They will have their 9 to 5 and they will still be start their own company. There's nothing wrong with that. But you just need to start, like I said before. So this is what this episode is going to be about. Now, I did think of like 5 particular points that I wanted to discuss with you guys and bring up. Like, these are like 5 signs that are indicating indicators that maybe you should start being your own boss, right? It's not in any particular order. You know yourself better than anybody else, but these are some of the signs that, like, for example, me personally, I've been through. I've noticed when I first became an entrepreneur. You guys are going to hear a lot of my stories about that journey. It was pretty creative, but yeah. So I'm just going to go into it now. One of the first things you might notice is you work a job, you have your regular 9 to 5, and you're kind of like fantasizing about being an entrepreneur. Like, you might have amazing ideas. I know when I was working in corporate, and the very, very few people I was actually cool with, especially when we were in the office, we always talked about having little side hustles, and things like that. One thing about my old company I was working for, I'm sorry if you weren't aware, I was a workers' comp adjuster, but in my earlier stages, um, when we all used to go to the office, we always had like these food dip day things. So like every month we would get together and make dip or something like that. So me and my homegirl there would be like, oh, we should do platters, right? Like every few months do these platters and sell them. I mean, she was a good cook, I was a good cook. So you kind of start thinking of ideas at work, right? With your work partners and your friends and so on and so forth. So once you start having these visions of being an entrepreneur, that's usually one of the first signs. And a lot of people brush it off as just a thought or a passing thought, but think of how often that thought keeps popping up in your head. And maybe you just want to possibly consider, being an entrepreneur and just starting the process, or at least looking into it just to satisfy that thought, right? That's a sign. So Another sign too, this was huge for me, was the fact that there was no real growth and development within my company. Like I started off, like I told you, I started off in Liberty Mutual. The As a workers' comp adjuster, the first and the lowest position that they have for you is called a work comp coordinator. I wasn't a work comp coordinator, but I was a step after that or up from that, which was a workers' comp medical only adjuster. So I didn't handle anything like heavy. And yeah, so I didn't know I was going to be this. Like I thought I was signing up for something else. And they were like, yeah, you would be great for this position. So I'm like, bet. And it was like the most money I ever saw in my life. But once you get looped in, I can't speak for other industries, and I'm sure it's very similar in other industries, but in corporate, like once you get sucked in, the money is so good. Like you will work your ass off and you're only staying because of the money, right? So that was kind of where I was at with it. Over time, I did finish because I was in there for 14 years. But when I eventually left, I was what you call a senior workers comp adjuster number three. Uh, I don't know what three is. I guess it's a different level of being a senior. And after that would have been a manager. So um, I basically mastered the craft. I'm good at whatever I set my mind to. Not to toot my own horn, but y'all should be used to how I talk. And I was super good at being an adjuster, but I was also super good at being an overworked worker, and that's what they loved about me. Um, yes, there were promotions over the years, but the a lot of the times how I got the promotion was because I left the company. So I would leave one company and I would go to another company. Now there's a lot of major worker comp companies out there. Liberty Mutual worked for them, Sedgwick worked for them. I think AIG, if that's still popping, was out there. Like they're progressive. um, I forgot there's another huge Hartford. These are huge, huge, huge companies. And we all kind of circulate, right? Travelers, like every time people say, oh, I'm quitting, we'll just say, which company are you going with? Like, it was like a dying fucking hell. Like, it was just a pit of death in the workers' comp industry, right? But eventually I learned the game quickly. And I was like, okay, in order for me to actually grow, since I can't grow within the company the way I want, I have to leave and go with another company. And other than that, there wasn't much growth within my industry. And that wore out on me after a while. So one of the final signs for me, which took me over to the edge, man, was the fact that I noticed I couldn't get not only a promotion anymore, as far as in it, like more money. I wasn't getting more money. I couldn't get elevated to another position no matter what I did. And I was working long hours. I was working in my basement. It was made up basement. It was a beautiful basement, but I'm working in the basement 16 hours, 20 hours, sometimes 24 hours. There's been times I've fallen asleep at my desk. Like I got a whole family upstairs, a whole marriage going on, just everything going past me because I am dedicated to this job that's paying me this huge salary. And then my dad told me, he was like, yeah, but the hours don't make for what your salary is. You're working more hours than what you're getting paid for, a whole other different situation. But yeah, I didn't realize that. So I'm thinking I'm special because I'm a beast at being a workers' comp adjuster, yada yada yada, but they would not promote me. I could not be elevated. So and I was tired of quitting and being a new worker at another workers' comp company. So the last thing I did was I was with Sedgwick and I stayed there for a couple years and I went to Gallagher Bassett. Gallagher Bassett is a nightmare. I thought the other companies were horrible. Gallagher Bassett is like the flaming halls of hell in workers' comp, right? The way they treat you, the way they overwork you. I was there for like a year and it was just disgusting. I wound up leaving and going right back to Sedgwick. Yeah. So Going back and forth, however, did allow me to get more money. I would always negotiate my worth. And because they pretty much knew my track history, they saw my resume. My resume was amazing because I made sure it was amazing because I was amazing. They pay me accordingly. I can't say they pay me what I was worth. They pay me accordingly. However, I was not growing within the industry. I was not anything other than an adjuster. So, another thing that was preventing me, in my opinion, from actually growing within my industry as a workers' comp adjuster was the company refused to allow me to be a manager. Okay. After being senior claim adjuster number 3, after that is a manager. No assistant manager, just a manager, right? The problem was I was making more than most managers, people that have been in the with the company for over 20 years. I was making almost 20, $30,000 more than them, right? I can explain how to do that if you ever want to know, just leave a comment. But yeah, you got to be crafty and creative. But I usually got what I want, and I knew what an impact I would be to the company and how valuable I would be. So I use that as a bargaining tool. But anywho, but also, if they promoted me to be a manager, what that means is they would not get that hard work out of me anymore. I literally could start work at 9 and at 5 or 4:30 I could clock out and would be straight. And I'm managing other people, so it's not like I'm working these files. So they never told me directly to my face that we can't promote you within the company because you make more than the managers. But they did tell me, well, we would love to see you as a manager. You have all the qualifications and everything, but we feel that you're better suited for the role that you're in now. Basically telling me, just continue to work your ass off until you drop dead. All right, until you drop dead. So if you hear the other podcast of how I actually left that, I left. I was pretty creative, but still during that time I was so frustrated that I'm with this huge company. They're paying me all this money with no problem, but they would not allow me to grow. And again, y'all, I say it all the time. This podcast is called Coast to Coast Credit for a reason. I'm from Philly. If I don't if I don't like something or if I find something to be unjust, I'm gonna show my whole ass. And that's what I did. Like they just kept rejecting me. It was so frustrating. And I'm not saying it's right, but that was my mentality at the time. I told y'all back then, I was a whole asshole. Okay. I knew how to get money, but my professionalism would go out the door after a certain point. I was tired. I was a burnt out employee. I was not appreciated. The company was not allowing me to move forward. So that these are the earlier signs. And one of the things too was I gave up. Like once they did not allow me to grow, I felt it was like kind of breaking my spirit per se, and I just gave up. I didn't care about professionalism. I told those people they could damn near kiss my whole ass. I acted different. I came in when I wanted to. I was hoping these people would fire me so I could get unemployment because I knew I needed to do something to get out of corporate and into my own shit. And I wanted to get paid while I did it. Okay. And if anybody wants to know how I did that, I did it for about 2 years. Check out my podcast, my other episodes. For about 2 years, I was getting paid. All right. But at this particular moment, I just didn't know. I was just hurt and broken. And I knew I wanted more. I knew I was worth more. I knew I could do more. And being in workers' comp is very unfulfilling. We deny people that shouldn't be denied medical. I'm not helping the community. I'm not helping myself. It was just disgusting. So I'm sitting at work, basically showing my whole ass, talking to people however I want to talk to them. I'm telling them I'm not going to do whatever work they want me to do. I'm going to do it when I get to it. And I'm thinking they will fire me. And what do? Give me more money. That's why the 1, 2, and 3 position is tacked on to my title, because they refused to give me management, but they just kept adding numbers off my at the end of my title. But having the same position. That's not growth. That's just putting numbers at the end of my title. So two fingers to them, right? So that's a sign. There's no real growth at work. There's no opportunity for you to grow and develop. There's no opportunity for you to move forward, for your company to nourish you and whatever. They have programs where, yeah, I'm sure you can help the community if you do this, this, and this, but it's really unfulfilling work. And if you take up too much of your personal time away from work, then they penalize you for it, even if you're doing something positive. So I was done. I was done. That was all I needed to know. When you are told you're just too independent, you can't take orders very well, possibly have a problem with authority like I did. You know what I'm saying? Those are also signs. I mean, people will say to you that it's a strong trait, you're too strong, especially if you're female and you're hearing that, like, oh, you're just too strong, you're too independent, as if it's a negative, as if it's an ugly thing, right? Yes, I am independent. Yes, I am strong. Okay. Too strong for this position, too strong to deal with this headache. I need to go out on my own. I need to venture out and do what I do best and take this that you're showing me is a negative to you, and I'm going to make it a positive for me and my business. So naturally, I am defiant. I know that about myself. Okay. I'm not going to be the type of person that's going to be like, yeah, I'm great. High five myself. I'm amazing, even though we already know I am. Right? But you should be able to say the positive things about yourself, and then you should be able to criticize yourself. And I'm not going to sit here and say the negative about yourself, because you need to just be able to be critical of yourself and be realistic, and then figure out how to use that to your benefit. Because I'm defiant, because I'm inquisitive, because I'm independent, because I'm strong, and because I have a problem with authority. Side note, it's not necessarily that I have a problem with society, with authority. I have a problem with the system and corporate hurting people. Okay. Which is why I love what I do as a credit expert. Okay. But I don't like that. And I can't change the world as much as I would love to. I can't change how corporations treat their employees as much as I would love to. However, I know I can start my own business, and I can start there and make a difference from there. Okay. I don't respect how anyone can treat a human being like an object. And I understand business is not personal. Trust me, I have employees. Okay. I have my own business. I have rules, and I tell my employees how I want things done, but I do treat them like a human being. My assistant recently asked me for a raise. We had a conversation about that. All right. As much as she does, she definitely deserves a raise. She deserves time off. She does deserve promotions. Does she fuck up sometimes? Sure enough. Had to have a little conversation with her the other day. You know what I'm saying? But there's a way to do things, and I get it. Companies just don't have time for that. I get it, but it's not meant for me. It's not meant for everybody to work for someone. Some people can. Some people, a matter of fact, I had a conversation with my pop years ago, and he was saying that he admired the fact that I was an entrepreneur, but he was like, listen, I'm a 9 to 5er. Like, I gotta come into work, I gotta know what I have to do so I could tackle it and then go home and then get my check. I respect that. Everybody's different, no judgment, but that's just not my twist anymore. It worked, it served its purpose, but all these signs are telling me that I need to move on and move on to my own shit. And that's why I love being an entrepreneur so much, because I have this business, I can create another business, I can have multiple businesses running. I got kids, I can put them on, they don't have to work for anybody. I have a successful business. They can work for me if they choose. It's so much freedom involved, which leads me to the next point, the desire for freedom. Once you start craving that and you feel like that's what's missing in your life, this job is taking up so much of your freedom. This is another sign that you need to start packing them bags and go and be your own boss. Okay. It's nothing wrong with anything I'm saying. These are just signs. It's not anything negative, but you have to acknowledge and respect yourself and respect your thoughts and emotions and put yourself where you definitely need to be, where you actually belong in life. So, when you have your own business, you have the freedom to control the outcome of your business. If you work hard or you work smart, your business will be successful. And it's your business, it's for you. It's not for somebody else. You have that freedom. If you want to dissolve your business, you can. If you want to create a corporation and absorb your own LLC into your corporation, you can do that. That's all you right there. You understand? That is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. That freedom alone is amazing. Okay. So if you're yearning for that independence and it's getting louder and louder, like, I can't take this anymore. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be happy and free. Take that as a sign that maybe it's time for you to be your own boss. Okay. Now, my final sign, the fifth one, so to speak, is purpose. Like, you need to fulfill some sort of purpose. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, I didn't realize how much I of a service that I'm doing. I am running a business. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I understand people are, yeah, you have to pay a fee to rock out with me. Believe it or not, everything is not for a fee with me. You understand? Those who know, I'm not going to go too much into detail about it, but I even had a guy set up a consultation with me recently, and most of the information I gave him was just free game. If you go on my website, if you go to my YouTube channel, if you check out this podcast long enough, you'll learn everything you need to know when it comes to fixing credit and possibly starting a business, right? And that's free game right there. But I like that because I feel like I'm helping my community. I'm helping people that constantly say they didn't teach this in high school. And if they would have taught this in high school, I would have been a billionaire by now, which is facts. This is why they don't teach it in the schools. But working for someone else and working in corporate, I felt like I had zero purpose. And it's not, mind you, it's not structured for you to feel that way. You are a machine. You are a robot. You are an easily disposable tool. Okay. That's just facts. Whether you go to work and you say hi to Jenny and Bob at the water cooler and you guys high five each other and you guys feel a special connection during lunchtime when you like whatever the hell your situation is. I'm not saying the people don't like you. I'm saying the system within itself is not there to make you feel good or feel like you have a purpose. It's not. They do offer programs and shit like that. I know my company did. I don't know about your company where you could do a lot, but if I did do half of the things they offered, it would take me away from the 24 hours that I put in on a daily basis with the company. And once that slacks, then you guys are looking at me sideways. You're ready to so-called fire me. You understand? Which I wasn't afraid of. Fire me. Let me get that unemployment and let me start my own business. Okay, but whatever. But there was no purpose. I didn't feel like I had a purpose, like I wasn't impacting the community at all. I know I wasn't. I know I wasn't. I would tell somebody, hey, I'm a workers' comp adjuster. They'd be like, what is that? What do you do? Oh, you're the person that my company had to call when I hurt myself and I slipped and fell at work and you guys denied me. That's you? Yeah, that's me. I can't stand people like you. I'm gonna tell you this really dumb quick story. It's not like a long story, but this is when I knew I was working for a shit organization and I had no purpose here. There was nothing I could do. I'm not trying to save the world, people, but if I could help in any way, shape, or form, I would love that. But I was again, I'm a workers' comp adjuster. I'll never forget this. I will never forget this to the day I die. But I had a whole bunch of files. I don't even think I was a adjuster. I think I was a medical only person. That's what I was. I was medical only. And I was stuck in that position for over 5 years because they refused to promote me, right? But anywho, so I needed to check on a file, standard procedure, update the file, see where it's going, how everything is before I move forward. I called and I asked to speak to the customer or the client, which was a man. Let's call him Bob. I forgot his name. So I called and his wife picked up. We'll call her Susan. I don't remember her name. And Susan was super nice. She sounded like an older woman. And she said, "Oh, you're here, you're calling for Bob." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is Tamiya Robles. I'm calling from Liberty Mutual." And say my whole little script, but I'm saying it dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this is my Robles. I call him Liberty Mutual. I was just checking on this thing to make sure he's okay. He's okay. And then she was like, "Oh yeah, thank you so much for calling." And this woman was talking to me like literally was calling because I cared. And she said, "My husband just died yesterday. Um, so sorry, Bob's dead." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so." So I had to get out of that. I had to get out of that, like I had to be a human being. And the woman said, "Yeah, no, it's okay. He was battling cancer for a long time and he died in my arms." And I'm like, "Oh, stab, stab, stab in the heart, right?" So that was bad. And then she was like, "Well, if you want, you seem really broken up." And mind you, I'm the adjuster, right? I'm a workers' comp adjuster. She was like, "Well, yeah, if you really want, we have this virtual flame where you can put it out online." So she gave me the website and I was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna blow this out, whatever. God bless," or whatever. So we hung up. I went to my boss and I was just so broken up. This was my first workers' comp death. I'm saying first workers' comp death because after this, all the deaths afterwards meant absolutely nothing to me, which is fucked up. So, but I went to my boss and I was like, "You will not believe it. I have this client. His name is Bob. I went to do update and boom, he's dead. He died of cancer." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't take it. I'm gonna blow his virtual candle out, like this is bananas." And he looked at me and just started laughing. And he was like, "All right, close the case, move on. What are we talking for?" Like, and I'm like, "Bob died. Like, he fucking died, bro. Like, what are you talking about?" And he was like, "So what? That's one less case you got to worry about. You close the case before the end of the month. You're making your numbers." And then he told everybody, like, "Hey, guess what? Tamaya's client died and she's over here feeling some type of way." And everybody was like, "Wait a minute, he died?" Yeah. And they're like clapping, high fiving. Yay, she's closing the claim. She got a closure. That was workers' comp. That's what they were paying me the big bucks for. Just to be a dead soul and just to move the numbers. I helped no one. I've had a couple of deaths as a workers' comp adjuster, and you're told not to give a shit, really, right? I had one of my biggest cases. I don't remember the details, so thank God for y'all. So you don't have to hear that shit. But I had a major, major case where this case was like, I want to say like 5 years old, maybe. And the company refused to close out the case because there was so much money involved. And he died while at work trying to get to another location, but he had a brain aneurysm. And so the death wasn't immediate. So they couldn't figure out, like, is it because of the brain aneurysm or is it because of the accident? So my job was to do everything in my power to prove that this had nothing to do with workers' comp, all those surgeries, all those bills, everything, which was into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, mind you, right? At this point, all those expenses had nothing to do with us. That's what made me a great adjuster because I was able to make those type of cases go away. Not helping the community. whatsoever. Not helping. So it wasn't fulfilling to me. I like helping people. I mean, I'm an introvert. I'll give you that. You know what I'm saying? If you know me, you know I don't really care so to socialize all like that, but I do like helping people, man. I don't like living my life like that. So this is yet another sign, at least for me, to be like, no, I don't move like this. I don't feel comfortable and I'm not going to continue to be like this. I need to have my own. I need to be my own boss. I need to have people that work for me that have the same or if not similar goals, and it's just more liberating. I need that. So all those signs for me is all I needed. I'm going to wrap this up now. Hopefully you hear this and it makes some sort of a difference and it gives you an idea. It doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. It just these are just signs that, hey, maybe I should start my own company. Even if you don't leave your own company, if you don't leave the company that you're with, the business, whoever you're working for, you could still start your own business. Okay. Take heed to those signs. Don't ignore it. They're coming from a special place with inside you. So these are the some signs. If you have some other signs or any personal experiences that you went through or any thoughts that you had that you think might be a sign for you to be your own boss, let me know. Leave a comment. Okay. You guys are finally actually commenting on my YouTube. I appreciate that. Other than that, I just get emails all the time like, yeah, I saw your YouTube. I heard you on the podcast, John. I get it. But yeah, just leave a comment because you never know who you can help. That's why I do this podcast. You never know who's listening. You know, never know who you're impacting, and your story might affect someone in a positive way. It might be an encouragement. So check it out. Now, as usual, I gotta say my usual stuff. So credit first, personal credit first. Fix your personal credit. Don't assume you have good credit. Don't assume it's as bad as you think it is. I just had a client today and I looked at her and her husband's credit and she's like, "Oh my God, this is horrible." And no, it wasn't. I didn't even need to fix her credit. It was that good. So, yeah. But go to fixmycreditnow850.com, set up a consultation with me. Let's get to the bottom of this. Fix your credit, see if what needs to be done, get a plan of action going. It is not free, people. Please don't. I don't want to hear it's the holidays. I don't care. Okay. It's always going to be a holiday, a birthday, a death, a birth, um, some sort of anniversary, an occasion. I don't want to hear it. This is your life. I can't want more for you than you want for yourself. But it is a service that I'm very good at, and you got to pay me. Okay. It's not going to be $99 or whatever you're talking about. Okay. But let's talk about it. I am reasonable, but get your credit together. So go to my website, fixmycreditnow850.com. Check out the link in the description. You will also see how you can set up a consultation with me. Check me out on YouTube, my Facebook page, Credit and First Time Home Buyers Plug. I have like 4 other groups. Check it out. Everything is in the description. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share, and definitely comment. It's okay to comment. I will respond. But again, please do not set up consultations just to see if I'm real. I'm real, people. Okay. Set it up when you're ready, when you're serious, you're ready to start. All right. In the meantime, it was amazing, amazing as usual to talk to y'all. And I wish you the best in your credit journey.